Hello, sports fans, and welcome to Sports on the Spot. My name is Willie Charger, and I'll be joined by Nick James, later on by Lenny and Ronnie, who are going to give us their lowdown and rundown, and we're going to spend some time talking about the sports world. Today, we're going to be talking about the last week's NFL draft. For me, talk about the Chargers and how they did, and then let's spend a few minutes talking about the Major League Baseball season that just got started. Nick, as you look back over this past weekend, any sports or games stand out to you?
Yeah, Willie, I noticed that the Lakers dropped another game and now they're in the 7th seed in the play-in tournament. Who would have thought after winning last year, even with LeBron and AD hurt, that they're going to be maybe not even in the regular postseason? If they drop one game, if LeBron and AD aren't back, it's going to be big trouble for them. Meanwhile, my Clippers holding strong in 3rd place. Not excited about who they're going to play in 6th, but I think we got a lot to make up for last year. What do you think, Willie?
Well, what I think is that Anthony Davis seems to be playing like Anthony Davis. He dropped 42 points on the Suns on Sunday night and beat the second best team in the West. I also see LBJ coming back and playing this week, possibly tomorrow night against the New York Knicks. I'm not ready to throw the dirt on the Lakers just yet, but things are definitely uphill for them at this point. We're going to be able to spend some more time talking about the NBA, but I wanted to turn things over to Lenny, who's going to be giving us his Lenny lowdown. Take it away, Lenny.
Pro sports is facing a big challenge, and that is, once the pandemic is behind us, how will it draw fans back into ballparks, stadiums, and arenas? Well, I hope Pro Sports calls me because I've got a solution. The foundation of my plan is deceptively simple. Every fan in attendance who purchases a beverage will get free, unlimited refills. They can go back for more, again and again and again. And they not only can, they will. Think of how that'll drive attendance. Filling cups, well, it'll fill stadiums. It'll also enhance the customer experience. Half of the fans, well, they'll hoot and they'll holler and they'll have a great time, even if their team's getting slaughtered. The other half, well, they'll be in sort of a beverage-fueled state of open combat. And just think, that'll mean boxing and wrestling matches sprinkled all around us throughout the stadium. And the more refills, the more of these mini sporting events we'll get to enjoy. And all of this, well, that'll take the focus off of the field. All of this obsession with winning and losing. For a team like the Padres, instead of shelling out $340 million for one player, instead, they'll be able to field sort of a ragtag mix of, unpromising prospects and washed up has-beens. And you know what? Nobody will notice. Nobody will care. Hey, check out the brawl up in Section 305, right? The results? Payrolls will plummet, and the savings, well, that'll foot the tab for those bottomless refills. I'm a little concerned about one thing. Do we really want to expose our kids to that kind of behavior? And you know what? Absolutely not. So what do we do about that? I'll tell you what we do. We'll leave them at home. The new normal is no more kids in the ballparks. A little cultural shift that'll also give us back some of our freedoms. Look, I know this is a lot of sophisticated economic theory, revenue models, and all that, but I'd love to hear what you think. Can this idea of unlimited refills bring pro sports back from the brink of financial failure?
Well, thanks for that, Lenny. That was a pretty interesting take on different strategies to get fans back into the stadium. To me, what's most important is once the fans do come back, is that there's equity between all of the stadiums throughout the league. With the NBA playoffs coming up, I don't think it's fair that some team, let's say the Utah Jazz, might be able to pack their arena with 18,000 fans, while the Lakers and the Clippers here in California are only going to play before maybe 2,000 or 3,000. I think that the fan attendance is going to have a big factor in this year's NBA playoffs. Any thoughts on that, Nick?
I agree. I think it's really unfair, but you got to understand, LA, there's a lot more population there that people are getting in contact with each other, a lot higher risk of, health issues there, where Utah, no one's going to Utah. Only the fans of Utah live in Utah. So they're kind of in their own little bubble almost. They can allow for a few more. But yeah, it's totally unfair. Definitely not going to have that advantage that you get feeling the fans and just being in your home arena. You might as well go back to the Florida bubble.
Well, we could talk about this topic all day, but I did want to also spend some time talking about the NFL draft, and especially the Chargers' recent picks in this year's NFL. I thought the Chargers had a great draft. They filled many of the needs that they absolutely had to fill. Their first pick was this offensive tackle from Northwestern, Rashawn Slater, who is going to be a great protection on Justin Herbert's blind side at quarterback. They also used their second pick to draft a cornerback. Remember, they lost Casey Hayward, and who's now on the Raiders, and they drafted this guy, Asante Samuel from Florida State, father and former NFL player, highly recommended by the Chargers safety, Derwin James. As if that wasn't enough, the Chargers actually went out and got a tight end. They lost Hunter Henry. They brought in this kid from Georgia. Maybe he's not going to forget have people forget Hunter Henry, but that's certainly an upgrade. What do you think, Nick?
Well, I think Asante Samuel Jr. is going to be a huge pickup. If Derwin James is able to stay on the field and we got Joey Bosa healthy, we're going to have a pretty intense defense. As far as Slater on the offensive line, going with our center pickup earlier in the offseason, I think Justin Herbert's ready for a breakout year. We all saw that kind of with Pat Mahomes a few years ago. And yeah, I might be a little hopeful making that comparison, but the guy can play and he could run, and I think we say this every year as Charger fans, but I really think this is our year. I'm really excited with what they did. Plus, they got that stud receiver from Texas in the third round.
Yeah, so they were able to fill a lot of their needs at the wide receiver, tight end, offensive lineman. I think all in all, a pretty good draft for the Chargers. Let's spend some time talking a little bit about Major League Baseball. There's been a lot of early season surprises this year, particularly in the National League West, with San Francisco atop the standings. Nick, can you make sense of what's going on in the National League West?
Well, Willie, it looked like the Dodgers were about to run away with it, with the Padres just on their trail, and now, they're in third place. Padres still in second, and we got the Giants up at the top. And luckily, Padres are only down a game on them. Yeah, we did lose a big series this weekend, but we won Game 3 and we absolutely crushed the Giants. So I'm still hopeful. We're hanging in there. The Dodgers got hot, now they're not, and Giants are hot, and next the Padres are gonna get hot. So what did you notice, Willie?
One thing I've noticed is the Padres starting pitching. They lead the National League in ERA with 2.89 ERA. And pitching is the name of the game for me. What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that the Padres have an elite pitching staff. I think their real problem is scoring runs. They have 20 less runs scored so far this year than any other team in the division. So if they're going to keep pace, I think they're going to have to score some more runs. They can't just get by their pitching, although pitching does win championships. I'm not too worried about the Giants, or if I were a Padres fan, I wouldn't be too worried about the Giants. They are a dangerous team because they are going to compete. They're that type of team that is never going to give up. They'll never tell you that they're tanking or rebuilding. So, regardless of whether or not they have the talent, they're going to play hard and they're going to play like they think they can win, but I don't think they'll be there. It'll still be a two-team race between the Padres and the Dodgers. And it may come down to the wire. The Dodgers have shown you that they can scuffle a little bit. So that's a good sign. Are the Dodgers going to be in third place in the division forever? No, probably not. But at least you know that they're vulnerable now. And that's got to be a good sign for the Padres. Be a little bit of confidence boost. So they just got to start scoring some runs and, hitting them out of the park.
Well, that's a good point, Ronnie. But don't you have a rundown that you have to give us?
Yeah. Yep. I got to get to it. And all right. Hey, what's everybody? We're back. I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location. Talked to you a couple weeks ago. My Royals bet isn't looking so good. I told you to put that future bet on the Royals, and I don't think they've won a game since, to be honest with you. So I'm, persona non grata at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So, coming to you, like I said, from an undisclosed location, but we're still going to talk a little bit of baseball. Royals not looking too good. White Sox are on a roll. AL Central not going the way I thought it would a couple weeks ago. However, the Twins, they kind of stink. They're at like 11-21, something like that. So that's a big surprise. How about the Mariners? They're 18-18 as I'm talking to you. They're calling up two of their big prospects, Logan Gilbert and Jared Kelenic. Not Kalenic, I heard. Mariners are making a little bit of a push too, so that's exciting. You know, we always talk about the NL West. Padres ain't hitting. Once they get the bats going, I think they're gonna be fine. You know, they could win the division. You know, the Dodgers are gonna get hot. The Dodgers are scuffing a little bit. They're gonna get hot. So, you know, that's gonna be a tight race to the end. That's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. AL East, that's kind of my bread and butter. The AL East. Yankees, they're finding their way to. The Rays are going to be around. The Blue Jays are hitting. The Orioles aren't going to go down without a fight. They're not going anywhere, but they're going to give you a tough game. So that's going to always be a fun division. And, well, of course, the Red Sox, you know, the Red Sox. You know, of course, what? No, I didn't tell them where I was. Oh, the sir. Oh, the sir. You think they're going to know I'm by the beach with the board? Let's talk about surfing, everybody. I love surfing. You can surf anywhere these days. You can surf rivers, you can surf lakes. You can literally be in Des Moines and find somewhere to surf. I mean, with the wind, it's crazy. You can surf anywhere. So just because somebody has surfboards doesn't mean that they're at the beach, you know, in a coastal area. You know, they could really be anywhere. So just keep that in mind.
Thanks, Ron. I agree with everything you just said. Say, we really look forward to this next part of our show where we reach into the digital mailbag and read a question from one of our viewers. This week it's from a Romero Larry 1024. His question is, are you going to do any fantasy football rankings of players on the show? Well, you know, not everyone is hardcore sports like all of us are here. So, Nick, maybe you could explain what fantasy football rankings are.
Well, we all here know what that is, Lenny. So we're just going to get into that real meat of that question there. Yes, we are going to talk fantasy. When we get a little closer to the season, we'll be doing some mock drafts. Ronnie and I have been playing fantasy for years, and I don't know about Willie and Lenny, but we'll get them going pretty soon. But in honor of last week's draft and football season coming up, we are really excited, and this question inspired us to do a little draft day special. So we're going to go around and say who we think is going to do well or not well the rookie season from the draft. So who do you think, Willie?
Me, speculating about the fantasy value of an NFL rookie is just that, speculation. As Yogi Berra once said, it's tough to make predictions, especially about the future. And what I'm saying is that we just don't know who's going to be good and who's going to be bad. I will say, however, that if you want to pick a quarterback to be on your team, I would go with the Jacksonville Jaguar rookie, Trevor Lawrence. He's been reunited with his college coach. This college coach is going to install an offense that's geared specifically for Lawrence. He's going to rack up the yards running. He's going to rack up the yards passing. He's going to throw touchdown passes. If I was going to be picking somebody on my fantasy team, I would have to go with the Jacksonville Jag quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Just found out today the Jags went and signed Tim Tebow, so he's got a tight end that he can now throw to if Tebow, in fact, actually makes the team. Remember, he's been out of the league for 9 years. Anyway, that's what I think. Ron?
Yeah, well, and that Tebow move, you know, at least we know that the good Lord will be on the Jacksonville Jaguars side this season, so they got that going for them. A big fantasy breakout I like this year in the draft is Jamar Chase, drafted by the Bengals from LSU. Obviously played with Joe Burrow before, so they got that chemistry. Joe Burrow looked like he was going to have a breakout year before he got injured. I'm really excited just to watch Joe Burrow in general because I think he's awesome. And now that he has a true number one talent to throw to, I think there could be big things. And that's probably a bond that's probably going to last for a few years, them just continuing to build chemistry together. A guy who I'm not looking forward to, well, I take that back. I'm actually very much looking forward to watch, but for different reasons, is Zach Wilson on the Jets, because I think that's going to be a train wreck just waiting to happen. First of all, it's the Jets. They don't know how to build any kind of system or develop any kind of quarterback. So I don't see why this one would be any different. Also, I don't like to judge by appearances, but have you seen this guy? I mean, he's not going to handle the New York media for a second. They're going to eat him alive. The guy looks like he should be doing, ads for, cereal boxes instead of playing quarterback. I don't think he's going to make it. He's going to get ripped to shreds. They did it. I hate to always go back to Eli Manning, but they did it to Eli Manning when he first started, and it lasted years. Luckily, he was able to withstand it. But he's going to have to be ready for years and years and years of them saying he is jack squat before he kind of gets used to that. So I have no faith at all in Zach Wilson, but I will be watching very closely for the entertainment value. One other guy I'll just throw in there who I'm most excited to watch and probably will have on my team is Mac Jones on the Patriots, because that guy just looks like a Patriot if I ever saw one. And he's going to be a Patriot. It may not be this year, but he's going to be a real Patriot soon enough. So we'll be excited for Mac Jones.
So basically, this is putting together a fake football team. I use very sophisticated algorithms, very complex. So my team is still a work in progress.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about that algorithm, Lenny, but I'm really excited about Trey Lance. Not who we thought they were going to take with the third pick. We kept hearing Mac Jones, but this guy's going to be plugged into the best situation for a rookie quarterback. You got one of the best, most efficient offenses that even with Jimmy Garoppolo or their backups, since he was always hurt, put a lot of points on the board. Trey Lance is going to get a lot of that play action, pass, probably a few keepers, kind of what Mike Shanahan likes to do, or Kyle Shanahan likes to do in that offense with the zone running, and get a lot of rollouts, get a lot of points in the air from big plays, maybe not short dink and dunks down the field, and he might even run in a few touchdowns. Someone I'm not as excited about, Kyle Pitts, and he's like the generational talent of the draft, so it's nothing against him, but there's a lot of mouths to feed in Atlanta. Matt Ryan's getting older. They got Austin Hooper last year, supposed to be the big addition, and Hayden Hurst recently too, and they don't really use the tight ends a whole lot. Yeah, they put up decent numbers in the season. I just don't think it's going to be 20, 25-point games. He might get out with 5 catches, 50 yards on PPR. That's pretty formidable. But I don't know. I think the Falcons are trending in the wrong direction, and Matt Ryan's not getting any younger. So I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks out, but I'm not counting on it for my team.
Well, you guys have so many good suggestions. If I was putting a team together, I wouldn't know where to begin. But thanks a lot for all those expert opinions. That's going to be it for this week's show. Thanks to everybody for watching. I wanted to remind everybody to comment and subscribe and like our show if you have a chance. If you have any questions to submit to the show, you can submit them to sportsonthespotshow@gmail.com, or else you can just ask the question in the comments section of our YouTube page. That's going to be it for today's show. Thanks to everybody for participating, and say goodbye, everybody.
Have a good one.